Hello, Floriani Club. This is Brad, and in this month's video, we're going to do some digitizing off of a photo. We're not going to use the photostitch wizard, however. We're going to do it manually. And basically, doing it manually is the same as tracing anything from a backdrop, really. You just have to have the confidence to go and try it. The reason we're not doing it with the wizard is that the wizard just plain doesn't work that well. And it's not really Floriani's fault. Nobody's auto digitizer for photos really works all that well unless you're using an image that's been specifically made to show off the photostitch wizard, really. We're just going to jump right in here. What we're going to be doing is digitizing off a backdrop. So open up your Floriani program. In My Floriani Today, choose Create a New Design. Okay, and then we're going to go to the backdrop tool, which is over here on the left-hand toolbar. Has a little picture of some mountains. We're going to left-click on that, and I have my photo that I'm going to use in my pictures folder. You can use any photo that you want to. I would recommend doing a portrait that is close up of someone. Don't try to digitize a photo of like a scene of 15 people standing together. Just do like a up close photo, and you want it to be as good quality as possible. I'm going to use this one, which is the photo that I use in my intro video now, and is my profile photo. You can use any photo you like. So once you've brought in your backdrop image, you want to go and think about what size you want it to be. And remember that the size of the photo is not necessarily the size of the design that you're going to do. Because when I trace my head here, it's not going to be all the way out to here. So it's not going to be, if we look up in the width, it's not going to be 4.5 inches wide. It's going to be, well, let's see, we'll grab our ruler tool here, which is under the magnifying glass, left click on that, and I can left click and drag, and it's telling me that that's about 3.7 inches. Okay, and then from here down to the bottom of my beard is about 5.8 inches. Okay, so that's probably a little bit bigger than I want this to be. So I'm going to size down my my backdrop a little bit. Now, how do I do that? I don't have the handles. It's not in the properties anymore, and I can't select my backdrop anymore. You actually have to go back to the backdrop tool. Then you'll get the handles that allow for resizing, and the properties menu will have the properties for that. I'm just going to left click and drag to make this a little bit smaller, and we'll go ahead and measure this and see from tip of my head to the bottom of my beard, about 4 inches, and that's good. That's about what I wanted it to be. Now you can make it any size you want. This is the size that I want mine to be. I want it to be about 4 inches tall. But you just make it whatever size you want. Just be aware that when you change your size in the properties menu, you want to think about the size of the person that you're digitizing, not necessarily the size of the image itself. All right, so let's take a look at this picture of me. I meant zoomed in a little farther than I meant to here. Okay, so if we think about layering here, we've got the kind of my face and mouth and everything are underneath of the beard and underneath of the hat and this bit of hair over here. So we probably are going to want to digitize this part of my face first. Okay, and then after that, I'd say maybe the beard and the hat, and then the detail on the beard. So what we want to do is we want to work in, and then the eyes and the eyebrows and all of that, and the nose and all that. What we want to do is we want to work on this as if it were any other picture, but we kind of have to pick how much detail we're gonna really try and pull out of the photo to bring into our digitized image. And I'm not gonna get this light where my face is in the shadow here and the light's over here. I'm gonna just kind of ignore that. And so there's kind of like, you've got artistic license here. You're not going to create something that looks photorealistic. You're essentially going to end up creating like a caricature of the person that you're drawing. And the more, teeny tiny details you try to add in, it's going to start to look a little weird. So what I'm going to do is try and just get kind of broad strokes, make it so that the photo is recognizable in embroidered form. And there's really kind of, art to doing this, and getting it to come out right. And I'm not the greatest artist in the world, so I'm gonna try and make it kind of plain, and then I'll give you tips on how, if you wanted to embellish a little more detail in, how you would go about doing that. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and just get started. What I want to do is trace this area in where my face is. I want to trace that in using the line tool. So I'm going to left click on my line tool up here at the top, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of in broad strokes left click with my mouse around this area, and I'm going to allow there to be a little bit of overlap where my hat is. I'm wearing this hat right now, actually, as I talk to you. And then I'm going to bring this down around here. What do I want to do? You know what? I think instead of going under my chin here, I forget how I did this originally in the first time I did this, but I'm just gonna kind of go around like this. Yeah, we'll just have this part of my face first. So I'm gonna right click. Now, the color right now, the default color is blue. I'm gonna go down and find a better color, like a linen kind of color. Beige. Well, we'll just use beige. Well, I don't know. I don't like that beige. Whatever. We'll do beige. And I'm going to hit down here. I'm going to choose just a standard fill. Alright, so there we got my face. Okay, so that's our base. Everything else is going to be on top of that. And then we've got a little strip of skin showing right here under my beard. So we're going to draw that into. I'm going to use the line tool again, and we're just going to kind of go just like this. And we're going to again make this a fill. So we're going to just go down, hit the purple star, standard fill. Okay. Now, when you're digitizing from a photo, if you leave the stitches in 2D and don't put them in 3D, you can actually kind of see through your stitches. See how I zoom in? I can actually see where my eyes are and my eyebrows and all of that. And I can actually look at where my stitch ends are. So when I go to trace in my hat here, I'll be able to make sure that I overlap slightly with the skin on my face. So I just wanted to point that out. That's why I always digitize with it in 2D and not put it in 3D. Okay, so we've got skin on face. Let's go ahead and work on the color for my hair and my beard, which I'm going to do as one color. And then what we're going to do to separate these out is I'm going to have like a running stitch to do the detail, right? So that's going to kind of have like a wavy line here when I do that, but I'm going to do it all as one shape. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab my line tool. Oh, you know what though? Let's get my ear. My ear is under that, so I'm going to do the ear first. So we're going to have a little area of fill right here. Go ahead and trace that in. Kind of like that. Okay, and go ahead and turn that into a fill. And then I'm going to do this part of my ear as well. Ear on the other side. Okay, there we go. Now, alright, so let's go ahead and do the hair now. So I'm going to have this kind of go around like this, and then we make sure that we overlap slightly. Let me zoom in a little bit on this point so you can see what I'm talking about when I say stay on the edge of the stitch ends. I want to just slightly overlap the edge of my stitch ends here. See that? I'm just overlapping the ends like that. That way I'm guaranteed that I'm not going to have a gap there. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out because I don't need to be that zoomed in to see what I'm doing. I just wanted to point that out to you. Alright, and then we're going to go down. I'm going to ignore, well, I'm going to ignore this part, which is my hair, and just go along my beard. Like this. I'm just using my arrow keys to navigate around. And by the way, they actually broke the left arrow key on the last update. Like doesn't work to do this anymore. Like here, I'm hitting left on my keyboard. That's why I had to go and hit this button down here earlier. So hopefully they fix that soon. They may already have, actually. I haven't looked and see if there's a new update recently. Okay, so we just keep on going around here. Alright, and then I'm going to just cut this off. I'm going to do that with a running stitch, this little curly cue of hair flipping out there. Okay, coming back around here like this, and I'm just staying on the edge of my stitch ends. And we're going to add a hole for this part of my under my lip. We're going to add a hole for that. So we're just going to ignore it and pretend it's not there. That's a little more overlap than actually I meant to do. So let me just back up. Alright, we're going around here, going around. Clicky, clicky, clicky. And as you see, this really is no different from digitizing, you know, a clip art. You kind of have to look at it as if it were clip art. Like, what if this were a cartoon image of me? You know, how would I trace that? Okay, we get to the end here, and I'm going to close my shape. Just click on the end there. We're going to right click, generate my line. I'm going to pick like a dark brown. We'll do like a reddish brown, just so I can see a little better. Okay. Alright, so that's a little lopsided, my beard. You know what? I might pull this line out a little bit. So if you're not satisfied with one of your lines, you can easily go in and edit it, which I'm not real satisfied with this. I don't like how this comes in. Even though, you know, my beard is crooked in this picture, I'm going to fix it. So I'm going to use my shape tool. So I have to have my artwork that I just drew selected. Then I go to my shape tool up here. It's right under your select tool. You left click on that, and here we can actually see all the individual points that I used to make this. I'm just going to drag them out. My embroidery design, I can do what I want, right? That's how you go in and edit the shape if you didn't draw it just entirely to your satisfaction. Okay, and then once you're satisfied, you generate this by right-clicking again, or not. Apparently, you generate it by left-clicking. Yeah, okay, generate it by left-clicking. All right, now we're going to take this. We're going to turn this into a fill. Although no, you know what? First, we're going to do is we're going to cut that hole I promised you in here. The way that I like to do that in this is to go in and grab the line tool again, and then just start drawing another segment in. Let me zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to draw another segment in, and I'm going to use the combine feature to turn this into a hole in the rest of my beard. Okay, so I'm going to go in just like that, right click to generate that, and then I need to hold down the control key and select both of these pieces. So I've got the one already selected. I hold down control and click on the other one. Then I can move my mouse out here over one of the lines, right click and choose combine, and now we have my beard has a hole in it that this little patch of skin can poke through. Okay, so we're going to apply a fill stitch to this. All right, now my beard, the fill direction for this, I think should be going like down and diagonally instead of horizontally across. So the way we change our stitch direction is we go again back to our shape tool, and or what do they call it? Shape or reform? They call it edit path. No, shape. Yeah, okay. We go to your shape tool, and you're gonna pick add inclination. And then I'm just going to click and drag the inclination so that it's the direction that I want the stitches to go. So like down and diagonal, that's how I want them to go. Just like that. Okay, that's going to kind of give me a baseline of dimensionality to the direction that my stitches are going in. Okay, so cool. So we've got my beard, we've got this little patch of skin under there. We've also got, in terms of big areas that we're not going to just big areas of color, is my hat is kind of the next thing. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to make sure that I cross over my stitch points all over this whole thing. Okay, so this, I might end up needing to trim this part of this back a little bit, because I might have a little bit too much overlap right there, but we'll see when I start digitizing it. Let's see what we got. I'm going to start by clicking down here on this bottom corner, and we're going to cross over my stitch points. Remember, if you have to if you have to make it so that it doesn't look exactly like it does in the picture to make it make sense for digitizing, that's okay. Nobody's going to be looking at your original picture and comparing and be like, oh, well, clearly this is not how this goes. You have traced it incorrectly. It's just not going to happen. You want your design to look good. You don't want to be a slave to reality. All right, need to undo that. Just hitting backspace to go back. Okay, just clicking around. And I could eliminate the fact that my hat is all wrinkled and bumpy up here. I'm tracing it the way that it is, though. Okay, almost there. Oop, little. Okay, get to the end. There we go. All right, and now we're gonna apply a. Well, let's make it a different color first. Oh, dark brown. Okay, and then apply a standard fill to that. Okay. Let's see what we got so far. I'll put it in 3D. We'll take a look. 3D buttons over here in this. Okay, yeah. So we got, that's kind of recognizable. The beard, the hat, a little bit of face in there, and we get some more detail, and we'll really, really be cooking with gas. All right, turn off 3D. We'll go to the next thing. Next we've got, see, we've got some lips. I guess I ought to have made my lips before I did my beard, really, because let's hide the beard. You can actually hide things by going over to sequence view and see this eyeball here. If I left click on this eyeball next to the object that I want to hide, I can make it go away so I can see better. Really, I ought to have the lips go first and then have a hole for them. I should have done that. I'm not going back and redoing it. So let me just show you what you would do, because chances are you're going to have a similar situation yourself where you are digitizing and you realize, oh, I have made a mistake. happens to me all the time. So I'm going to go ahead and digitize my lips first and then go back and cut the hole out for them. That's what I'll do. Now for my lips, I want them to be a little bit shiny. Okay, so to make a shiny looking stitch, we're going to use a satin stitch instead of a fill stitch. It just kind of, I don't know, I like to do lips with a satin stitch. So the way we do that, we're going to go back up to the line tool again, and I'm just going to go in and trace this part. And again, I'm just kind of, where I can't see, I'm just imagining, using my imagination. We'll have a little bit of overlap and we'll have some of the detail come in. I'll make them nice and pink. And now when we put our satin stitch in here, remember, to do a satin stitch, you choose satin, and then you have to tell it the stitch direction. So I want some inclinations going in like this. And so the stitches here are going to be going this way, and they'll kind of smooth, make like a little flowing lip there. So generate this by right-clicking twice, and we've got my bottom lip. Now we're going to do my top one. Back up to the line tool. Go ahead and trace this in. Remember, the beard is going to cover a lot of this. Especially when I start drawing the individual hairs in, which we'll get to at the end. Okay, so there we go. Go ahead and hit the column, I mean the satin down here, and draw my inclination lines in. Hit select, will generate it. You can also right click twice, either hit select or 2 right clicks. So now we got some lips in there. All right, and so now we need a hole for these to be in. And so we're going to have to go back to our beard, turn it back on by hitting the eyeball next to it. And then I'm going to remember if you can combine. I don't think that you can combine a shape with an area that's filled in. I don't think you can do that. So what we're going to have to do is take this this fill here and turn it back into artwork, which is easy to do. There's a button right here. It just turns it back into artwork. So it's no longer going to be stitches. We're going to have to reapply our stitches and our stitch direction after this is done. But such is the cost of doing stuff in the wrong order. So we're going to left click on the artwork button down here. It's a yellow star, and it's going to turn this back into a regular line. Okay, and then we're going to go back up to our line tool, and we're going to draw the area that we want the hole to be. Be right near our other hole was. And it's okay that there's going to be a gap of nothing here and in here, because we're actually going to outline my lips with a running stitch when we get to the detail part of this little project. So we draw this in, we're going to right click, same thing that we did before. We're going to take this little artwork thing that we just drew, and we're going to hold down Control and select the beard outline. We're going to right click, choose Combine, and now that is also a hole in this. So we can now go and choose Fill, and again go and change my inclination to go diagonally and down. We'll hit Select to generate that. Alright, let's zoom back out and see what we got. Zoom out, turn on 3D. Okay, we got some goofy looking lips. We got the beard and a hat. We're ready to move on to the next thing. So let's go ahead and do my eyebrows and my eyeballs next. So for this part, we may want to hide the stitches on the face so that we can see a little bit better. Alright, and we're also going to take a little bit of artistic license too with my eyes here. We're going to make them a little bit bigger than they are in real life, I think, and we're going to add a little bit more white than there actually is showing in this picture to make it really look like eyes. So I'm going to start by drawing in like this. See how I've kind of enlarged this area, and I'm going to make this the white part of my eye. Okay, take this, we're going to choose white, and then we're going to apply a fill to it. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side over here. Even though we really don't see white in this picture, there we go. Go ahead and hit the fill there. Okay, and it's just going to be a little area here. And we may even want to take this and boost our density a bit so that there's more stitching in there. So we just select the area, lower this value, and it's going to make it a little more dense, just because this is going to be on top of another color. We want to boost that density a little bit so we can see it. Okay, so for the pupil here, and the iris, I guess, the iris and the pupil. This I want to be a circle, but it's going to be kind of a smashed in circle because my eyelids are over my eyeballs. So what I want to do is go up to use the shape tool here. So you choose ellipse, and what I'm going to do is draw a circle in so that it kind of matches with the edges of my white. Just kind of move it in a little bit, move this down a little bit. Okay, and then once it matches with the edges here, then we're going to go in and actually adjust this shape. So we go back to our shape tool. Make sure we're on edit path. So if you don't have the edit path one selected, you hit the fly out, choose edit path. All right. Then we can go in and smash this down a bit. Smash this up a bit. See this kind of, oops, clicked on the other line there. We can actually add a point right here. Right click and add a point to kind of push this up a little more. Okay. Alright. And then we're going to make this, make it like a dark brown. My eyes are dark brown. But hey, if you want to change your eye color, there we go. Now I got blue eyes, right? Alright, so let's see. We'll do it's clay brown. I already used the darker brown that I have in this palette. I'll go ahead and hit the standard fill there, and we'll do the same thing. Increase that density a bit so there's more stitches. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually put the detail around this using a running stitch. If you really want to, you could draw a little pupil in there like this and then make it black. But the problem with this is that it's such a small amount of stitches, it may not end up coming out. There we go. You know, that looks alright. Okay, so we actually may want to take this, now that I look at this in 3D, we may want to take this and move these couple of points here up a little bit. See how I'm editing my line on the fly right here? See how that kind of made that a little better? And we're gonna have an outline going around this anyway. Let's go ahead and do the next eyeball here. Because if I was smart, what I would have done is done the whites and the whites, the browns, and the black and the black. Okay, so that it was all in the right order. I didn't do that, but if I was smarter, that's what I would have done. As it is, we're going to have to go in and color sort this when we're done here. Okay, so we got this part, make it white, make it a fill. Why do I have 3D on? Turn off 3D so I can see my stitches better. Turn down the density a bit, do the same thing on the other side. Fill. Ugh, that looks terrible. Increase that density a little bit. Remember, a lower value is a higher density. There we go, that's better. Got more stitches in there now. And now we need the eyeball. Whoop. Smash it in. Add a point if needed. Smash this guy in. Okay, good enough for me. We'll select that and make it, what color did I use? Anybody remember? Reddish brown, clay brown. Oh, here we go. Clay brown. Alright, clay brown. Make that a fill. Boost the density a bit. Lovely. That is spooky. That's how you do it. Okay, so now we've also got eyebrows. So we're going to do the eyebrows next. Oh, I forgot to put the pupil in. Let's do that. Boop, 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 boop. I could also do this just by using a running stitch. So it's basically what it's going to end up with anyway when I try to apply a fill to such a small area. See how it's just like, but you can do it either way. Alright, and now we're going to do my eyebrows. So we just go ahead and trace them in like this. I'm going to do this as a fill. Let's see, I'll do reddish brown, which I think is what I used for my beard. Remember, we're going for caricature here, not photorealism. I don't spend all day trying to get individual hairs in your eyebrows. Okay, let's bring my face back. Scroll up here in the sequence view, and that's this one. Hit the little eyeball next to it. Bring my face back. Put that in 3D. See what we got here. Hey, all right. No nose though. So the nose we're gonna do with a running stitch. Okay, so that is disturbing and creepy, but I do know from experience that this ends up sewing out pretty nice. So, and I don't like how dark this brown is on my hat. It's annoying me, so I'm going to change that. But you know what? This color palette, which is just the one that's embroidery, it doesn't have enough browns. So I guess I'll break down and change to the Floriani Poly thread chart. Now we have too many colors. Let's see, we'll get a lighter brown, but that's still dark. Jamocha. I don't like that. That'll work. I'm satisfied with that. Anyway, you pick whatever colors you want, obviously. Okay, we're going to have to turn off 3D, and we're probably going to have to hide my face skin again. So we're going to hit that again. And now let's go and take a look at what kind of detail we have going on in here. We've got a big old nostrils here. We can do those with a fill. We've got kind of a line that goes around my nose up here, which I could use this line. I could start my nose and go up around and then use the same line to start tracing around my eyes, and then this line here, little laughter line, and then little lines coming off my eyes. And then we could also, well, I don't know if I want to skip up and trace around my eyebrows right there or not. Probably not. I don't want to have a big jump. Although I could just take it up right here. There's a line, there's a natural line going right here that I could use. So I mean, this is just kind of my thought process as I'm doing this, really. And we could actually take it back around. Do I want to do that or not? Take it back around this way and go up and do this details on this eye too. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so I'm going to start. First thing I'm going to do is draw in where the fills are going to be for my nostrils. I guess I could, if I wanted to, make those smaller. I'm not going to. I need black. This is why I never use this thread chart. There's too many colors. Alright, and let's switch. Actually, I'm just going to switch back to the embroidery thread chart here. By the way, to change your thread chart, if you don't know, this button right here lets you choose whatever thread chart. And the reason I like to use the one that's embroidery is it's 64 colors and they all fit in one bar, so I don't have to like scroll through and find 50 different colors. So black, There we go. Make it a fill. Again, boost the density. Okay, make it a fill again. Boost the density again. Okay, and now we're going to use the line tool here and just start drawing. Go on the edge of my nose up to here, and then kind of hop down like that. And I'm left clicking this whole time. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Whoa, 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 not that much. Come on. This is my mouse. The scroll wheel moves on its own when you start to move it. Alright, so we're going around here, and I want to go around the iris like that. Outline the entirety of the eye. We've got a fold of skin that I want to trace right here. And then from there, I'm going to come out to these little lines and meet back up with my outline here. Travel around this way, and then come down and follow this line here. Like that. And that's about as much detail as I want to put into that. So I'm going to hop back around here. I'm going to travel up this and just outline my eyebrow. I want to have an outline around everything to kind of complete the cartoony kind of transformation of this image, and then travel back down. Try to click right on top of where you clicked before. If you don't, just hit backspace. And what this is going to do is going to do two things. It's going to allow me to travel through my design, and it also eliminates the need for me to do this as a like a double line. I can do it as a single run instead of a double run. Traveling up inside my nostril, kind of give it that little definition that I see in the picture there, and then we're going to travel up. You know, there's really not a natural line going from here to here. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it right here. What I'm gonna do is actually make this curl like this. Yep. I'm gonna leave it like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set this to a run. You just go ahead and hit the run icon there. Now, I'm gonna say this. This will never look really good on the computer, by the way. Okay, so when you're doing one of these and your, portrait of your child, it looks like some kind of creepy mutant doll that you've drawn, just sew it out. You'll be surprised at how much better things like this look when you sew them out with thread rather than looking at how the computer renders it. You really just got to do it. I know from experience that it ends up usually looking a lot better in thread than it does on the computer. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just skip right to my other eye here. Use the line tool, and we're going to start here, trace around the eyeball. Make sure I get the outline all the way around that, and then we've got the little, just kind of hop up here, go to this little fold of skin. This kind of goes around like that a little bit. Going back over, we got little lines coming off of here. There's one here, but I'm going to pretend it's not there. Now here I really don't have a good bridge to get up into there for my eyebrow. So we're going to leave this one. I like to try to do as much as possible with a single line, but sometimes there's just not a natural way to do it, and I don't see a natural way to get up there. So I'm going to go in, take this piece of artwork, turn it to a run, leave all the settings the same, go back up here, and I'm going to outline this eyebrow. And if I wanted to, I could add some detail in when I do this by outlining it and then have it kind of come down like this, like to kind of suggest individual hairs. See how that looks. Kind of blending the black in with the brown. See how that looks in 3D. So I mean, that's up to you whether you wanna do that kind of thing. You can, you know, or you can just leave it outlined. Okay, and then before you go in and try to make all this where this is poking out, you try to make that look perfect. You want to actually sew it out and see if the pull of the fabric and the stitching causes this to really need to overlap or not. Okay, I would say that that's probably going to sew out just fine the way that that looks. Alright, so anyway, it's up to you whether you want to go in and pull these things in. And it's also up to you whether you want to put detail in like this. Now, since I already did one, I may as well add it to the other. But if I was really doing this, I would have done that during this step when I was tracing this eyebrow. So I'm going to add it in. But if you were going to do this, then you should do it, while you're tracing your outline, not add it in later. Although, it's certainly valid to add it in later. It's just not really as kind of professional. You watch it sew out and be like, what is this? Why did they do it that way? That's what I would say. If I was watching it sew out, why didn't they just do it at the same time? All right. So anyway, we add that little detail in, make it a run. Okay. So that's the eyebrows. Oops, it's this mouse wheel guy. I need to get a new mouse. This thing drives me nuts. And okay, so let's scroll up to the top. I'm going to turn back on my my face my face skin, and we'll put the whole thing in 3D. See what we got. Yeah, I mean that's recognizable. And you see what the end result of all this is in my intro video. I mean I did basically the same thing to do that video, and I think it sews out pretty nice. So what remains now is the majority of our detail work, the rest of the outline, and so we're going to do that next. I'm going to turn back off 3D, and I'm just going to go in and outline everything. So let's start with a line, and we just pick where we want to start. You can start kind of wherever you want in this. I'll start right here on this ear. So we're going to go around this. Just make sure you outline everything. And let's see, I'll travel back down through here. And I'm sticking to the edges of my stitch points so that there's a little bit of overlap, because it's gonna pull a little bit. Even with pull compensation, it's gonna pull a little bit. And right here, it's really annoying that my left arrow key is not working. Come on, Floriani, if you're watching this, fix it, please. Coming back down. Remember, just staying right on top of those stitch points. Just a little tiny bit of overlap. Moving back up. And we're going to go back in and fill in this hair with running stitch, by the way. I'm doing just the outer outline first. And then we're going to go back and fill it all in. Now we're up to my ear on my other side of my head. So we're going to go around. I'm going to go around it first, and then I'm going to fill in the detail on it. Around the outside of it like this, and then I'm going to hop in. And kind of follow some of the contours that I'm seeing inside it. Around like this. Hop back out to the outline. So you can cross over yourself, when you're doing this, it's fine. Go back out here. Alright, now I want to clearly delineate the line between head and hat. So I'm going to do that first, and I'm actually going to have it kind of pucker in a couple of spots. Like right here, and have this come up like that. Remember, this is kind of the bottom of it. Have it come up like that a little bit, and then kind of invent my own in a couple of places even. And I can actually see that I've gotten off of the line here. The dark brown is the one that I should be following here, and I started following the yellow. Okay, and that's down to the end of the hat. I'm going to bring this down here. Now here's where I can go in and like kind of whoop, get these little whoopsie doodles of hair that are sticking out like that. Maybe even get the one that comes down here. Oh, now we've traveled all the way back to here. So I'm just going to jump, whoop, jump just like that. Nobody's even ever going to see it. Traveling around the outside of here. Oh, left arrow key, of course, doesn't work. Just tracing. And when I get back up here to the top, I'm going to start doing hair. And don't worry too much about whether or not your outlines line up perfectly, because in here we're going to do hair. This is the detail for my hair on the head, and it's going to come out here. Again, we've got some strands that are sticking out like that. We want to just follow the flow that they are in the photo, and in doing that it's going to end up looking natural because you're tracing something that is naturally occurring, and it is actually occurring in the photo. So this is where you kind of sell it. So we're going to stick with kind of the direction that my beard hair is going. The hand is cramping up doing this. Ow. It really is. And if I wanted, I could add little curly cues in here. I'm going to stick with the kind of flowing out from a point kind of theme here, though, where like it kind of looks like it's all kind of radiating. Oops. And it doesn't need to be perfect by any means. You know, it's just kind of, it's like shading almost. At least my down arrow works, huh? If anybody's following along with this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about with that left arrow key not working. Unless they updated it, which if they did, I'm sorry, I apologize, Floriani, because I did not check for updates before I started doing this. Naughty. Suppose I should have. But you've got a great deal of leeway in how this ends up. Now that I'm up here near my face, near my lips rather, I'm going to go ahead and kind of trace around here. Hop back up here and do outline around the lips. And we're going to put a couple of hairs over them. And then I'm going to go back to adding in this detail. So I know this is a lot of just watching me click, guys. Feel free to fast forward. This is probably going to be another good 5 minutes of me doing this. So I'm going to record it. If anybody really wants to watch it, they can. But you should be safe to skip ahead about 5 minutes in this video here if you're tired of watching me just left click and give myself carpal tunnel syndrome. So there we go. Super Bowl's on soon, so I hope that that I get this done before it starts. Luckily, I'm not having a party or anything, so you're not going to be interrupted by like a bunch of drunk people showing up in this video. So don't worry about that. It is really annoying that I can't use the left arrow key, though. I'll tell you that. So I'm still clicking. You know what I ought to do is zoom out. Wouldn't that be smart? Duh, why didn't I do that before? Alright, and we're going to get up in here. There's some of it kind of coming down the other direction. Then we're going to move back up into this part, and here's where we really want to zoom back in though, so I can get the kind of direction of my hair versus my beard. Now, if you're like digitizing, your grandkid, they probably aren't going to have a giant beard. But the idea is, unless they're really cool, the idea of this is, whatever the textures are that you're tracing, you just kind of, you pick what the detail is going to be, and you trace it. You do as good a job as you can. And now I'm going to come back around this side and start tracing the edges of my stitch points on my hat. Here it doesn't quite line up perfectly. Curse you, left arrow, that doesn't work. Bring this down here for this little bit of detail. And scene. Okay, so we take this whole thing and we're going to turn the whole thing into a running stitch. And let's turn the whole thing 3D and then do to fit and see what we got. So there it is. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I sped through the detail on my beard down here, and I could have put some strands of hair under here or made this little area a little bit smaller. I could have done some detail like I did on the eyebrows for my lips and made like a little effect of like wrinkled on the lips. I didn't, but those are ideas of things that you could try on your own when you're doing this kind of thing. But that's, I just digitized from a photo. The photo stitch, like I said, never going to work. Just don't even bother. But this is a reasonable way to do it. And the more artistic you are, like intrinsically, the kind of the better you're going to get out of this, because it does take a little bit of imagination, and the more detail you can pull out of your original artwork, then the nicer it's going to look. And then also just remember, I mean, this looks horrible and creepy. When I sew this out, though, it'll look okay. I know, because I've done a bunch of these, and you can see the one that I sew out at the beginning of my videos now for my new intro. It's this basically. So anyway, I hope some people enjoyed that. I hope we have a good time in the class tomorrow. And I'll see y'all next month. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.